from America standing in his way. This is it. We're going to be diving into this series, guys. And down here in the bottom right-hand side, in the blue, representing Ting, it's Neeb.
And his opponent in the northwest, he's already making a spawning pool at 12. It is Elazer. Wants to set up the pace for these games here from game number 1 onwards. Try to catch Neeb off guard with those early Zerglings that he's going to be sending across the map. Probably hoping that Neeb, will try and cut a few corners, maybe not scout, but Neeb did go for the gateway on the low ground, and he follows this up with the scouts.
Yeah, that is a nice timed scout. Elazer here going for the 12 pool would have been hoping for Neeb to be doing something like a gas first or a Nexus first opening, delaying the scout till after the cybernetics core. But Neeb here, coming in early, sees no hatchery. Is he going to fake it with the drone to make it look like he wants to go for it? He does! And that pulls the probe back down. He pretends he's going for the expansion. But Neeb here, is he going to go in and see those Zerglings? He will in just a moment's time. He's going to see these Zerglings coming down this ramp. Now, is Neeb still going to commit to that expansion? We'll be finding out in just a moment.
Spoilers, the Zerglings killed the probe, because we're looking at the audience here for a second. So Neeb knows that there's Zerglings coming. He's starting to work on his wall. Second pylon, gateway, and the cyber core as well. So he's going to have a Zealots here blocking this wall off. He's going to get a second one, and then I'm going to guess an Adept can come out pretty quickly and do a ton of damage to those
Yeah, good safe response here from Neeb. A little bit slow on the second pylon because he did not spot this as early as he wanted to, and that is why that second Zealot is quite delayed, but just committing to the wall off, making 100% sure Elazer can't get in there, losing the probe though. Very unfortunate for Neeb. He doesn't have any scouting about the follow-up. He doesn't know if there's gas behind this or not, and that does deny a bit of the information. Neeb here just dancing back and forwards with those Zealots, wanting to make sure he doesn't let the Zerglings slide into his base. He's going to go straight for 2 Adepts after those 2 Zealots, wanting to put on some counter pressure.
Yeah.
And the Nexus does finally go down behind that.
And it's going to be tricky for Elazer to read this perfectly in terms of how many units are going to be counter-attacking here. This might backfire. Like, obviously, he had the right move. He realized this wasn't going to do enough when it got scouted. So he stopped making Zerglings. Oh, actually, the Zergling's getting caught for a second. He lost one here. Can't let that happen.
He's delayed the gas a lot, has a laser link speed very far away. He's going up to 4 Queens right now, but Neeb is going to be diving across the map. 2 Zealots, 2 Adepts. This is a really frustrating force, and he just wants to force Elazer to build a lot of Zerglings. Elazer, for now, staying very low on that Zergling count. He doesn't want to overcommit to this. He's still trying to continue droning. He wants to build an economic advantage off this pressure opening.
Yeah, and I mean, from Elazer here, he has to get a ton of links and more queens. He's still going into some more drones. Okay, no, he's going to start some more links. He does have the 2 queens here helping with this. But I think the Adepts are going to shade into the main, and he's going to start killing drones left and right.
Yeah, those 2 Adepts in the mineral line. They do just get between the mineral and the gas. The drones unable to get the surface area to surround that. Elazer already losing 4 workers. More going to go down. The shade there ready to get those Adepts down to the natural. Even more workers beginning to fall. The drones being forced off the line. Nice spore trick there from Elazer. Can he save the next one? He can't. That's 8 workers that go down. A devastating amount of damage for this early in the game.
It's a disaster, as they say. +1 melee on the way for Elazer, and Neeb from there. You can expect him to consistently build more probes. He's got a warp prism on the way, so he's going to be able to warp in Adepts across the map and pick them up as he pleases, as he starts on killing more and more drones. Have that extra escape capability with a warp prism.
Elazer's got to be kicking himself for going so low on the defense there. If he just built an extra couple of pairs of Zerglings, he might have been able to shut that down a little bit quicker. But now he's got to claw his way back in that worker count. He's building 5 workers at a time. No 3rd hatchery even started just yet. Upgraded Zerglings are great, but guess what? Link speed's only just started. There's no 3rd hatchery of production. Right now, Elazer's trying to crawl back into this game. And with a Warp Prism already coming across the map, a second Immortal being chrono boosted out. Neeb here, ready to be the one in the driver's seat, applying pressure to the Zerg player.
Yeah, the crit spread's pretty good, but at the end of the day, crit spread can only do so much, right? Like, it doesn't actually kill units. It can help with the engagements. Elazer flying into the main base of Neeb to try and get a scout. And on the other side, we've got the Adepts checking for the timing on the 3rd base.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're not loading up in the Prism. I would have expected it drop them into the natural base.
He's doing the shade in, and he's going to try to pick them up to take them out of there. He actually was surprised to see that the third base wasn't even done. Neeb, I think, starting to realize just how far ahead he is in this game. He saw with this third base, he actually tried to shade in, looking for drones, saw that it was an empty mineral line, and kind of realized, wait a second, my opponent's way further behind than I thought. Neeb's got to feel really good about this situation.
Maybe you thought that he thought he...
he was just shading the Adepts in, showed his hand with the Adept pressure to scout. You never know, Todd. I don't know. I feel like usually there's a bit of inherent logic to Neeb's play, but maybe not today. We'll see. He's going up to 7 gateways. I mean, how do you stop this attack, Todd? That's going to be a ton of units building up here for Neeb. Yeah. That's a crazy amount of production.
Against this army, like, you need a lot of Roachers and Ravagers, but it feels like Elazer might not have the economy for that here. So he goes for a Baning Nest. And maybe the Creep Spread can help him. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's going to be more important than I thought. Because obviously he's going to get a lot of extra speed if he manages to fight on Creep. So Zergling and Banes, with the addition of all the Queens that he's got, he's going to have to do the job here.
Yeah, maybe sniping the Warp Prism might work. If he gets Banelings on the Sentries, that'll work. But the Baneling Nest isn't even done yet. And already we see Zealot Sentries warping in. A couple of Spine Crawlers would definitely help anchor this. But right now, that's a measly number of Zerglings. This is not enough units for Elazer.
Yeah, the force fields are going to be so effective against this kind of army.
Yeah, those Immortals and Sentries coming forward. Beautiful force field, loading out all of the Zerglings. The Zerglings are unable to take part in this fight. They are trapped behind the hatchery, as are the drones. Both Spine Crawlers go down, and the Zerglings trickling in a few at a time. Devastating push there from Neeb.
Solid map number 1 here. Holds exactly how he should against the Zergling attack. And I'm not sure what Elazer expected exactly to achieve those Zerglings. I feel like maybe he was hoping that Neeb would keep on the scouts, go a little bit on the greedier side of things, cut a few corners, in which case, I mean, if the opponent does a very greedy build and you get in there with those links, then it can be really good for you. But that just wasn't the case there. After the solid hold at the wall, I always knew he was going to be able to counterattack. I didn't think he was going to be able to kill that many drones, to be honest. With the first 2 Adepts as well.
Yeah, Elazer was being a little bit risky there, thinking there wouldn't be 2 Adepts joining the 2 Zealots, relying on the Queens. And whilst the Queens can overpower the Zealot Adept, we saw what happens. The moment the Zerglings are gone, the Adepts have free reign. Their mobility is too much, shading into the mineral lines and doing a lot of damage. I really think that Elazer's mindset going into this is that Neeb is a greedy player. He is a player who likes to cut corners here and there, and you have to try to take advantage of that. So I look at this as Elazer saying, you know what, big map. I've seen Neeb so many times go for the gas first, go for the Nexus first, not scout until much later in the game. And if you get that scenario, this game looks beautiful. The choice of build order from Elazer looks great. This also puts Neeb in the mindset of, okay, my opponent is willing to take some risks, go for some of these aggressive builds. And I think with the winning record, you've got 1 series win to 9 losses as Elazer against Neeb. You've got to take some chances like that. So, you know, it didn't work out in map 1. Neeb went for the scout. The question is, does Elazer keep looking for things like this? Does he keep going for that sort of wild strategy, hoping his opponent doesn't scout?
You might just do a 180 and say, like, well, you're going to scout early in every game now that I've done that, and now I just go on the greedier side of things.
Yeah, hit something later in the game. Maybe mega late game, but even like mid-game timing attacks could be absolutely awesome. We are going to be going into map number 2 here, guys, and over here on the right-hand side in the blue, representing Ting, the American Protoss champion, he is Neeb. And over here on the left-hand side, in the red, the Zerg player, he is Elazer. Trying to time it out there to get I'm like, I gotta catch the audience there. Of course, the live commentary coming through in a different language here, in Russian for the audience, but always nice to hear the passion from the crowd for these players. There's been a lot of support for everybody. You know, especially when you get those big champs up on the stage. Cyril always getting a big amount of crowd support. Got absolutely swamped after his matches yesterday for signing autographs and that sort of thing. And both of these players, big mainstays in the WCS circuit. Elazer, of course, one of the biggest finishers in BlizzCon. Before Cyril came along, he was the first foreigner, non-Korean player to make it to a top 4 in a BlizzCon. And
He made
also
top
made it to a
8, then top
quarterfinal.
4 back to back.
Yeah, top 4 and then top 8, right? And back in, well, actually it was top 8 and top 4. Yeah, it was 2 years in a row. It was actually really good runs.
Yeah. And it was off the back actually of his ZVP as well, mostly. I remember he said he wanted to get Showtime that 1 year. He got him in the quarterfinals, won, then made it to the top 4. So a very strong player in Zerg versus Protoss once upon a time. Definitely has had his troubles with the matchup here and there, and right now he's a little bit of trouble against a Neeb who just seems extremely solid in the matchup, despite a map loss against Bly earlier. I mean, and it could happen to anybody, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because I have seen Neeb still going for Stargate opening quite a bit, and I think Elazer is kind of happy to play against the Stargate opening in a normal game. I think it's really the robo openings that have thrown Elazer into, you know, thrown him through a loop. He's in such a tough position against them. You talk to him and he says he just feels like he can't find the correct answer. Feels very inconsistent, feels like he's gambling a little bit with his response to those robo first openings because he doesn't know when the Protoss player is going to hit him with the Immortal push. But here we see Neeb's much more trademark play, Adept Stargate, often going right up to 3 Adepts and being very aggressive with these. But it is a larger map, so there's a lot of space before that pressure gets over to the Zerg side of the map. Yeah,
the Adept gonna get over there in a second here. Maybe wait for the second one to try and shade forward and kill some of these drones. As the Stargate is about to finish, a lot of the time here it's going to be an Oracle, but occasionally we've seen different stuff. Maybe sometimes like a Phoenix first. But yeah, Oracles are usually the go-to. And no, we do have Phoenix. Yeah. Starting first, he wants to clear out that Overlord, maybe to try and hide something behind this.
Nice Spore Crawler trick at the last second there. But, actually does get out of there and snags the drone kill. Nice pickup. Obviously as well, the main thing there that Neeb was looking for was scouting the main base. He saw that there was only 1 worker still mining gas. That means there's no fast Nidus Worm, there's no super fast Lair, there's no crazy Baneling bust. Neeb here getting to just progress forwards. His Phoenix can be shutting down this Overlord. The robotics on the way, the extra gateways there on the way behind that, going up to 3 gateways and waiting until this Overlord goes down before the tech is going to drop.
Interesting that he made the 3rd gateway in range for the Overlord to see it. It's almost as if he wanted him to see it. So that behind this, he thinks that, you know, Elazer maybe he's going to panic a little bit, be like, oh, 3 gateways, you know, he's going to attack with Adepts or something like that. But then Neeb would go on the greedier side of things, make more probes, take the gases on the expo, maybe even go for a quick 3rd. Yeah, he's sending a probe on the 3rd base right now.
Yeah, that, of course, extra gateway production makes it much easier to handle that 3rd. A very quick 3rd base down at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. An Oracle and a Phoenix coming to the 3rd base. Nice lift on the Phoenix just to delay those Queens a little bit. The drone transfer is in trouble, but good focus fire by Elazer. Only losing 1 drone, 3 drones stacked on top of each other. Neeb was not able to find the focus fire. Ends up wounding 3 of the drones and not sealing the kills on any of them.
Yeah, that was well done by Elazer, getting there on time with the Queens, minimizing those losses. Again, it's the best of 5, so being down 1 map, you know, it's obviously not good, but not as bad as if it was the best of 3 and then you would have only 1 map left for the opponent to win. To close out the series.
That's a lot of Adepts there. No glaives on them. That's 8 Adepts. And there's even a 3rd Oracle out right now, Todd. Neeb just wanting to pile the aggression onto Elazer here. Elazer's Rotoran's not ready. He doesn't have a Baneling Nest. He's going to have to rely on just Zerglings and Queens to defend this. And we know the problem with that. Those Oracles, if they're able to turn on their laser beams and hold position above the Adepts, they will destroy the Zergling count. It's like holding up a can of bug spray to a cockroach. The Zerglings do not stand their ground in the face of those Oracles.
And there is a lot of Zerglings though. And Queens as well in support here. They've got speed, they're going to get right on top of these Adepts here. There's not going to be any escape for a while. Oracles try to come to the rescue here to these Adepts, but they're all dying so fast.
Yeah, the Oracles were a little bit slow to that. That was actually not well synced up by Neeb. Grabs 2 workers on the tail end of it, keeps his important flyers alive, but a fantastic hold for Elazer. And Neeb there definitely should have cancelled that shade. Overcommitting in. He's up in workers behind at 55 probes for Neeb and a double Forge follow-up.
Yeah.
Whoa. That, to me, says we're going to be seeing a ton of Zealots, a big ground-pounding army, lots of Immortal Zealots, Archons. Of course, the armor upgrades, absolutely fantastic for those Zealots in small trades against Zerglings, Roaches, Hydras all over the map. But a Spire, sorry.
Robo Bay. He's going to go for Robo Bay as well. So no Twilight whatsoever here. Neeb, initially, he just made the Stargate, the extra gate, then went for the Robo. And after that, he was like, well, I might need some upgrades, double Forge, and then Robo base. So Twilight, the most delayed building here.
That's a really weird matchup of builds, Todd, isn't it? Immortal's coming out, soon to be probably Colossus, but Aspire's already almost finished.
And the Revelation caught it, by the way. So he should be able to know about this, but maybe he didn't check properly, because Neeb's not getting any Phoenixes here right now.
We meet our fate.
Yeah, I wonder if Elazer's going to go into Mutalisk off this, or just use this for Corruptors. Twilight Council now does go down. Neeb here in a very interesting position, just adding so many upgrades, so much tech, so much infrastructure down. A single Mutalisk queuing up here for Elazer. And that to me says that's a mind game Mutalisk. I think he wants to get this Mutalisk out to both shut down Warp Prism, but you might want to show it just to the Oracle or the Phoenix. Just give a glimpse of that Mutalisk and try to get an overreaction out of Neeb.
That was close. Yeah, this... I mean, if you look at the production tab and what Neeb's doing, you feel like if Elazer had gone for a bunch of Mutas, they would have been really good. But because Revelation was cast on Spire, maybe he thinks, well, Neeb knows he's going to get Phoenixes, then I might as well not make any single Mutas. And other than the one to shut down the Warp Prism.
The Oracle does go down in the back corner there, nicely done. Phoenix does start up there for Neeb, so even just seeing a Mutalisk, he does start building Phoenix, and that is always a nice way you can get that reaction out. Blink is on the way, we've got the Colossus Extended Thermal Lance, cannons going down all over the shop. Neeb really just looking to turtle on 3 bases for now, and a big Hydra Bane build up for Elazer. 78 drones to 70 probes. Definitely give Elazer the income advantage here. I feel like his economy is much more well established. However, I feel like we need a Hive here for Elazer to really make sure he's set up for the next stage. With no Infestation Pit even started just yet, I worry for his longevity.
Yeah.
I mean...
Maybe he feels like he can't go for that, because then he would be attacked before and he wouldn't have enough. He might go into like an old school game, you know, Wings of Liberty, Colossus, Stalkers against Corruptors, Roach Hydra and Corruptor, yeah.
That could be a weird composition, right? Because they're both so close to maxing right now. How many sentries have we got out? We've got quite a few sentries, 5 of them banking up energy. That's a ton of Hydras, and we're going to see a ridiculous number of Banelings added in here. Infestation Pit does start. I think Elazer's going to hit a big timing attack, but I think Colossus Force Field, if Neeb doesn't make any mistakes, like...
And Neeb sees this. He sees the Banelings. Now all he has to do is fall back and the proper force field.
You do not want to fight off creep. I mean, Elazer can win on creep with a surround, with a flank, but I don't think he can actually break through this army. There's actually not that many force fields in there, only about 6 or 7. Maybe, just maybe, he can crash through this army. Elazer, he wants to commit to it, Todd. He's actually just going to go. His whole army coming in a gigantic spread. And man, oh, there's a few little holes there. That's the last couple of force fields. All the Banelings and Zerglings are gone. The Colossus lasers, though, absolutely devastating. Elazer there, he set up a gigantic flanking surround for if Neeb moved onto the map, but Neeb simply pulled into his expansion, and Elazer's units trickled in there. They clumped up. The force fields were effective. That fight was absolutely disgusting. Neeb about twice as effective there. He does not have a Warp Prism with this army, though. I don't think he wants to commit onto creep. That would be a huge misstep for the Protoss player.
If a single one of those force fields had missed, it would have been a completely different fight, but those Banelings couldn't quite find the connections they needed. And now Elazer is praying that Neeb steps on creep and attacks into him, but Neeb's not going to fall for that. He's just going to pull back, max out, keep working on his economy. He's down 4 bases. Elazer's
so
taking
late.
the 5th, but it's not set up yet.
Yeah, and the Hive's so late, Todd. As I was talking about before, he's stuck on Hydra Bane. And it's not just that. Yeah, Hydra Bane can sometimes win, but these Colossus are so effective. You've got Corruptors, which are an okay unit, but they're not amazing. And one of the big problems here is 2-2 is about to finish versus only melee upgrades. These Hydralisks will get absolutely wrecked by these Stalkers in a head-to-head battle. It's going to be reliant upon Zerglings dealing with the Stalkers. And the problem there for Elazer is, guess what? As long as there's Colossus in the back, Zerglings aren't going to do anything. So Elazer needs to take out those Colossus for his Zerglings to deal with the Stalkers, or he needs to buy time for Broodlords, which deals with everything on the ground. But that's a long way away. for Colossus. A Warp Prism, a lot of Stalkers and Sentries here. Neeb with a powerful army. His 2-2 upgrades have kicked in. A massive upgrade advantage for the Protoss player, and he's going to start to edge his way forward. Elazer setting up a large flank on the left-hand side. He needs those Corruptors to do some work here.
Yeah, he sends them in first so that the Stalkers can be attacking. Those Forces are going to start landing. The bottom side of the army of the Elazer is not going to be attacking at all, other than for the first few Hydralisks at the front, able to shoot at those units. The Elazer trying to hold on, but Neeb supply still way further ahead here.
Those Colossus doing so much work. And a controlling finish there for Neeb. Didn't really break a sweat in that game. Didn't feel like the early game went too bad there for Elazer, but that composition of Hydra Baneling, great defensively, good at doing run-bys and catching your opponent out of position, not good at breaking a Colossus Stalker Sentry army front on. We saw that you really are just hoping your opponent missteps if you try to engage that front on. Elazer had obviously already committed to so much Hydra Baneling when he realized the situation he was in. He felt he needed to commit and make something work, but it was the wrong choice. And that slow Hive Tech, unfortunately, not giving him any other options. Neeb with a very out there build order, good surprise build order, but now he's 2-0 up in what has looked like a very clean series for the Protoss.
Elazer against Protoss has always looked like he prefers to stay on lair tech rather than going to Hive. He's always been kind of reluctant to do that, and he's not had the most success on Hive tech, let's just say that, compared to guys like Serral or some of these other Zergs. And it seems like that trend is continuing here. So far, he's been more on the aggressive side of things, and against a Protoss as solid as Neeb, it's very, very hard to pull off some of these wins. I mean, even Bly, who's like, you know, the king of these early game attacks and scrappier games, only managed to win a single map against Neeb. The other two were close, but it feels like stylistically even Bly has a better chance against Neeb than Elazer with the way he played in those first two games.
Hasn't been working out for the Polish player just yet. He's got another life left over, though. It is 2-0 lead to the Protoss from America. But we're going to be going into map number 3. There is still a chance to turn this series around. This is, of course, the quarterfinals of WCS Spring here in Kiev. And we are going to be launching into that third map down here in the bottom left-hand side. The Red Zerg, he is Elazer. And up here in the top right-hand side, in the blue, playing for Ting Gaming, an absolute legend. He is Neeb.
Going for very early scouts here, by the look of things. What is Neeb going to drop down the wall here?
There is, Elazer wanted to go for the 16 hatch, sees that probe and says, okay, let's just walk over to the third base. There is no way to get that hatchery down. Does poke back with the drone there. Going to delay his hatchery by a few seconds looking for that. He wanted to make sure he wasn't being cannon rushed.
Yeah.
And he is going to take that third. Of course, Neeb here pulled one of his very first probes down, you know, to get this across the map as quickly as he did. And that probe going to deny a bit of mining.
Expanding, Pig?
Not today.
That's what it is.
Do you think they feel that epic? Where they're like, yeah, you need to go and like run around in the circle and make sure the drone can't put a hatchery down. The probe's like, yeah, I was born for this. Like, this was my destiny. Oh, man. Neeb's actually going to go core before Nexus. That's interesting. I think double Adept's going to be chrono boosted across this map from Neeb. And going to go for maybe a rather quick Oracle to join up with that as well, is what I would imagine.
Yeah. Everything's going according to plan so far. He perfectly blocked the second hatchery on location, forced an expansion a little bit further away.
Oh, this probe is being so annoying as well. Just trying to occupy those mineral patches temporarily to mess up the AI of Elazer's drones, force them to go mine somewhere else. And this just takes a little bit of efficiency away from Elazer's early game. Maybe knocks 20, 30 minerals off his build order. Nice little bit of opening pressure using that excess EPM. Neeb chrono boosting these adepts across the map. And yeah, they're very early. That Cybercore first, and Neuropugnancy being a small map, that Adept is going to get across the map very quickly. The Robo started super early as well.
And we've seen the magic that Neeb can make happen with just two Adepts as well. Always great decision making, always great micro. If you can just get in there one time, even like force a bunch of Spores or Evos and kill a limited amount of drones, that still would be very good for him. Elazer though, he's got speed on the way. He made a bunch of links. He's going to have to be in position with the Queens.
That's so
And I like that
hard.
he's checking the corner of the map here on the top left as well.
Yeah. The Adept actually there, expecting Elazer Zerglings to come around for a bit of a scout, is actually waiting for them. But Elazer timing this out, both players clearly knowing each other so well.
And behind
this,
this,
going to
by the
wait
way,
for that.
Crazy good follow-up, I think, for Neeb. He went for the Twilight Council and Robo, so he's going to have so many options in terms of what he wants to follow up this with. Like usually, when you had this kind of build orders, he wasn't necessarily with too quick adepts to try and harass with, but it's a great adjustment to the map. As you mentioned, it's a shorter rush distance here. Here we go.
Oh, he actually cancels the shade there, starts focus firing the Zerglings, now going for the drones, and already taking down 2 of them. Will he get a third? Nice extractor trick there from Elazer, pulling back that weakened drone. Good micro from Elazer. That could have been so much worse for him. Scouts the tech out in the main at the same time. Elazer even seeing the DT Shrine. Elazer is not ready to give up in this series yet. It's been all Neeb so far, but Elazer here with a splendid opening. Yes, he's slightly supply blocked from losing the Overlord, but his Zergling's going to come in. A Stalker on its own can't actually defend against that.
Yeah, the Warp Prism is there, so we could have dropped down a pylon and then dropped that down behind the wall. Very nicely done here by Neeb, who now needs additional gateways. Here they are. It's going to be 3 more in total, so it's going to go up to 4 in order to go for perhaps the double Archon harassment. I gotta say, it doesn't really get any better than this here from Elazer. Minimized the losses against the first 2 adepts, scouted the Dark Shrine perfectly. So he's going straight into a lair to get an Overseer on time for detection.
Yeah, economically it's still not bad for Neeb, but definitely, I mean, when you get your 3rd base forced, your natural forced onto your 3rd location, and then when you see the double adept pressure like that, we've seen games just fall apart from there. So Elazer, I think, making the best of a bad position, but it's only a very small lead, if anything. You can see that Neeb has not missed a beat with his probing behind this. He's still got that worker lead. You'd like the Zerg player to have overtaken the Protoss by now, and we do finally see that happen. Overseer on the way, those DTs, Queens, Zerglings already here. Neeb's got that Prism. It looks like he's going to have to pick up those DTs and get out of there. He's going to wait to the last second, just dropping down the low hit point Dark Templar. Very nicely done here by Neeb.
These drones are like, get out, run! They're coming.
1 worker and a few Zerglings, not too bad for that first wave.
And now we've got a ton of roaches on the way. I feel like if Elazer wants to, he can just get 1 million roaches, clear reconstitution, and just go across the map and try and, you know, fight against this army, because there's not going to be any immortals here in a while.
He saw 3 more Zealots attempting to warp in there, and Elazer immediately queued up 12 roaches. So many units on that production tab. Lots of roaches are going to be coming out here for Elazer. He should be able to defend this. The Archon's getting the focus fire on the drones. A big misstep from Elazer, not pulling those drones out of there. 7 workers going down. You don't want to be taking those losses at this point. Neeb still has the macro follow-up. Neeb is almost never a player who all-ins you. He's always going to hit you with these sharp, ridiculous pressure timings, and it feels like something you've got to overreact to, but you can't. He's got the Forge going up. He's got Immortal production. His 3rd base is finishing as well. Neeb neck and neck with Elazer in workers, slowing down the creep spread here on the south side as well. Doesn't want to take any hits on those Archons for a while because they are regenerating that shield damage right now, but he's going for the main. The Roach is a little bit slow to respond to Queen in the open. Oh, Neeb just continues to find so much damage in this game.
Especially the Queens need to be in position. You need to have at least 2 kind of chasing that Warp Prism and damaging it, so eventually you might be able to... Oh, it's so tempting to just drop and kill the Queen and then the drones. Oh my god, these drones.
Oh, no anti-air left there, and this gives Neeb so much freedom. Elazer has got to be frustrated with this. He did so good in the early defense, but now, 4 Adept swapping, and he can shade into the natural and the 3rd at the same time while the Archons go back into the main. This is absolutely awesome. He's going to hit multiple bases at once. Elazer's just desperately trying to hang on, building more Roaches, more Zerglings, trying to get a melee upgrade. The Archon's distracting, and those Adepts going to dive into the natural expansion. The Archons are a distraction, Todd.
Yeah, and Elazer was ready in the main base. Yeah, still is with the Roaches. The main base is going to be defended easily, but in the natural is where the Adepts could get some damage done. The Archon's trying to get a cancel on the hatchery. Neeb needs to pick up early enough. Wow. Roaches on a counter-attack in Neeb's 3rd base right now. They're gonna get force fielded.
And this Prism here, there's just not enough queens to really put the fear into Neeb. He's able to continually redrop another 7 worker kills tallied up there. These sentries and zealots deflecting these roaches. We see Neeb here at a 10 worker advantage. His immortal count continuing to grow behind this. He's coming across the map with a good-sized force here. Elazer, he's building a ton of roach ravager zergling right now. He's going across the map with a link counterattack as well. I think this is a good choice here. Oh, the Prism's in the open there. Does realize it. He unsieges, pulls it back. But Ling's getting into the natural. The door wide open. Neeb with a massive mistake. And Elazer, quick to capitalize, dives into the base.
Yeah, that one immortal is gonna get cornered here around the natural. Neeb going for the attack here. It feels like he's gonna take a bunch of damage back at home, so he needs to go for the attack because a lot of these nades are missing. Instead of the army of Elazer, he traps so many of these Banelings, Ravagers and Roaches here. Neeb with the splits against the Banelings.
Elazer here. I thought he needed to buy more time. I think those force fields just able to trap him and force the engagement a little bit too early. Neeb gets the fight that he needs. He's warping in a few more zealots, those immortals, those archons, that prism, still very powerful, just offering that damage. And there is just so much power. He's not going to be stopped. Not yet. 3-0 there for Neeb. Continuing his dominant streak in head-to-head against Elazer.
Looked absolutely